No, driver.
What does that mean?
Rotate under.
All right, guys. I have some pretty bad news regarding my partner in the competition, Holly. She was up in Washington at UTV Takeover, and she got into an accident regarding like jumping an ATV or side-by-side, or a UTV, a side-by-side, and she fractured her back. She'll be fine, she'll be able to recover, but it just means she won't be able to compete in this competition anymore. If you want to help her, I have a link for her GoFundMe in the description below, but as of now, Janelle will be my partner for the remainder of this competition. So, unfortunate series of events, but that's life, things happen. So, we got a lot of work to do, so we'll get to it.
Let's do this.
It is time to get the rad charger moving under its own weight. And to do that, we need to put the transfer cases in. And when I say transfer cases, I mean I'm going to take the front half of this 203 and pair it to this Ford 205. So what it's gonna give me is a doubler. To get started, we have to disassemble this box and just take the front portion and prepare to put it on this other one. Alright, so I have this MP203 split. I've got all the pieces that I need out. This is the half we're keeping. That half can just pretty much go in the garbage or be used as a boat anchor. It doesn't matter to me. But this is where things get really exciting, okay? This is where the shiny new parts come in. Boom. What's in this box, you ask? Parts. Parts are in this box. Yeah. This bad boy. Boom. And this one. Alright, so I got these parts from a company called Off-Road Design. Basically, this is the adapter plate that I'm going to bolt on this range box. It has the correct bolt pattern for the other transfer case. So the first thing we're going to do with this, since it's pretty freshly milled, is actually clean it up, because I see some particles of metal shavings and stuff that I don't want in there. So in the doubler kit that I got from Off-Road Design, it comes with this shorter shaft, because we're basically getting rid of the big box. It doesn't need to be that long anymore. So we took all the guts off of this long shaft, and now we need to put them onto this one. But before I do that, I need to take this bearing and pop it in there, like so, I guess. All right, now this pretty ring goes in. Bearing retainer is in, and now they have this cool little breather that goes right down in there. Put that out of the way. Right. Got my low range gear on there. Now I'm just gonna take this end plate here and just slide her on down. Alright, so we got this end plate slid over that new shaft. Now we just need to put the snap ring back in and probably get ready to put it back over the box. Alright, there it is. And then I got this surface all cleaned up. It doesn't look clean, but I assure you it is. The only thing left is to put these all in there. And we're gonna use some of the grease to do that. And then we'll silicone this, put the gasket on, and then we'll pair it together. That was it. Alright, so this transfer case isn't exactly a direct bolt in. If it was earlier Ram Charger, it would be. But the bolt pattern is round. This is the transfer case that came out of it. So there's 6 studs, and that's what holds it to the back of the transmission. The bolt pattern on the end of that case that we just made is not that. So we need to drill into that case and add the studs in this pattern so that we can bolt it up properly. Because that pattern is so important, I went over to the plasma cutter and I made that pattern right here. So that now I can take this and lay it on the back end of this. Right there, just like that. And mark out the spots to be drilled. So I went to the store and I got a tap that matches the studs that came out of that transfer case. And now we need to drill and tap into this case. So it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be work.
While Rudy's finishing up stuff with the doubler, we do still have one piece that doesn't quite fit. It's just the battery plate, so I'm just going to cut one of the corners. Hopefully it will fit, and we'll see how it goes. I've also never used this plasma cutter, so we'll be kind of figuring it out as we go. Hey, how does this work? What? That was like way easier than I thought. So I just cut this piece off right here just on that corner, because pretty much all that's happening is this corner right here. It sits like kind of like that, and then this piece is just hitting on the shock mount that we just made. So hopefully this will fit in there smooth. So after putting on the grill yesterday and fitting everything back in there, we only had one piece that didn't quite fit, and it's the battery tray. So I'm just gonna trim that up and hopefully it'll fit. I just got this fitted in here, and it's no bueno. It does not actually fit still. So it's sitting right here, and then it's just sitting right on top of the shock mount and the shock itself. We'll just have to figure something else out.
This is either the best day or the worst day of our lives. All right, so I got these studs tapped and drilled into the face of this box. There's one I couldn't quite get because it's right on the edge of this, but it's time to put it up and see how we did. See if it fits. Here goes.
Okay.
So we have the doubler in place and the doubler adapter. Next we need to bolt on the 205 transfer case. The only issue is I sort of took it apart. So the problem I was having that I didn't really check for until it was time to put it in was this bearing. This bearing was seized up and it's supposed to roll, and it's not. So can't even get it broke free. So I pulled it apart. I got the case over here. I threw a coat of paint on it. It's just right here. All right, so that case needed to kind of come apart anyway because I wanted to do a twin stick modification, and basically you change the way it shifts so that you can control each axle independently. So I could have the front in low range and then have the rear in neutral. Basically when I do that, it'll pull me around tight turns and stuff like that. So it's the perfect time to do that. So some of these gears have some light surface rust on them, hence why that bearing was seized. We'll get these gears cleaned up and then we'll move on to modifying those shift rails. All right, so these are the shift rails that came out of the 205 transfer case. I have it marked out here. These are the existing indents, and then in the Sharpie, the black marks is where I need to ground out. So 2 of these need to be elongated. All right, so I'm just gonna do it on the bench grinder here and hope that I don't go too far. So here is the case. Ugh. Kind of a weird metallic-y color. I don't know, it was what I had on hand, so that's what it is. But it's time to start loading it up with the gears and stuff. So I cleaned the gears up, sort of. I just need to spray them off and wipe them down and blow them out with air and stuff like that. And then I can start loading this case up. So yeah, we'll get that cleaned up and put in. So after messing with this thing for a little while, I finally got some progress done to it. I got both shift rails in. And now I'm just working on putting this final output on, and should be good. Should be ready. I don't know what gear I have it in right now. But right now we can actually test to see if I ground my shift rails properly. All right. It's heavy. Yeah, that's 4 low. Now we should be able to pull this out. And 4 high. All right, it's all working. Now that we've determined that it all actually works, we can actually put this rear output housing on, but it's got some issues. Let me show you. All right, so it's not really an issue, but this bearing has all these little needle bearings that need to go in it. And so I'm just using some grease to hold them into place, and then we can bolt that on to the back of it there. So now it's just the meticulous task of putting like 40 something of those needle bearings in. And boom, last one. Little Loctite on these so they don't decide to back out, because this is going to be probably vibrating a ton. So I went ahead and I pulled the 203 doubler back out of the ram charger. So I have it sealed between the transmission and this doubler case. So I'm just gonna take one of these right here and get it fitted up. Twist it and mallet.
Now you take the good wrench.
How's that working for you?
Not good. Not good at all. Is it better from the other side? Maybe.
I thought you were using it to tighten stuff. Doubler's back in and sealed up. It's time for this thing. Do we have this? Are we so confident that we're gonna actually glue this surface and put it up?
So confident.
If it goes up, it's not coming out.
This thing is really heavy too. Well, how's this going in?
Like this. This is oriented right. You're on the driver's side.
Okay.
Oh, that's not too bad. Line me up.
Okay. Go to the left to driver. There you go. Come down. No, driver. Driver, driver.
What does that mean?
Rotate under. And there you go.
Where's the hammer? Okay. That was some of the worst directions I've ever heard. Rotate under. Under what?
Yeah, but it made sense to me. I'm like, if I tell you to go left, you either go up left or down left. Like, I tried.
We'll get through this.
We'll get through this?
Yeah. That was painful.
Honestly, I feel like even if I had helped you, well, helping you lift wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, no, helping me lift would have killed me probably.
Probably.
Got her done. That was brutal.
I'm sorry.
This is one of the heaviest transfer case doubler combinations there is out there. But that's okay. Because this thing is gonna win. It's one of the most tried and true setups too.
I do feel the need to clarify that I'm not a mechanic, so I know a lot of things. Sometimes terminology is not my strong suit. It is what it is. We're learning.
So now that we have our transfer cases in, our doubler and the 205, we need to build a cross member to hold it all together, because that's a lot of weight out there and I don't want to break parts. Probably going to break parts, but I don't want to break them from that. So we need to figure out a cross member design. Another thing to mention is my drive shaft comes right in line with this. So I got my front output yoke right here, and then this right in the way, and then down to that. We'll say this is my drive shaft. Go right to there. Yeah, that's a problem. At least this much of it has to go. All right, so I have these style of bushing to help the transfer case isolation, just so it can move around a little bit because it's supposed to. I'm gonna make a majority of the cross member out of pipe, so probably need to get the pipe bender out and start bending things. We'll see how this works. If it works. We got our piece. Let's see how it fits. So it's gonna go right there, and just like that. So I wanted to get that bar out of the way first because it was the most critical one. Now we need a bar to actually attach it to. We also have a major issue. I keep smelling it, and it's my fuel pump. It's just garbage. It's leaking out of the housing. It's not supposed to be doing that, so I got another one on the way, but we won't be driving it until it gets here and until this cross member is done. So I'll get back to you when I figure out exactly how I'm gonna mount that other bar. This is what we got figured out. This is a 2x3 angle iron. Just chopped some corners off, drilled a few holes. I plan on mounting it up in the frame like that and then bolting to it, kind of like that one. We got a spreader bar in. What I did is I went and I bent it at 45s on both sides, and then I went center to the transfer case. So from one end to the other. And then we'll take this piece that we bent earlier. We just go ahead and slide that right in there. It's really hard to show you guys, but something like that. Hopefully that slides on some rocks pretty good. A little dented right there. I was trying to clearance something. I added a second one so that, you know, symmetry. Now it's time to put in one of these joints so that we can actually mount to the transfer case and isolate it. It's gonna go right up here, something like this. Then we'll be able to weld to this sleeve here and then catch these bolts. I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing left is we gotta cut this out. Now, yeah, we'll probably just use a Sawzall and it will work. That's why I have a Sawzall blade in my hand. Here we go. Didn't move at all. That's a great sign. Yeah, I was expecting this to move more than it did, but it didn't spring or nothing. It's slowly moving further and further as I touch it though. So now we just got to unbolt these 3 bolts, and then this will drop out of our way forever. Wow. Wow. This is dumb. Can't feel nothing up there.
Man, putting the doubler in really wore you out, huh?
I'm in pain. I can't see. That's how I hurt myself. Now the drive shaft can probably maybe fit. Junk. Perfect. It's a pretty terrible driveline angle if you ask me. Good thing we have limiting straps. Alright, so another week has gone by. We currently have 14 days left to finish this thing in its entirety, and we have the roll cage and rock sliders and lights and stuff to do. So we have our rear locker and gears put in, our front locker and gears put in. We have the 203 doubler with the 205 transfer case behind it. We still got to work out some of the shifters with that. But I mean, that was a massive project to get all of the gearing done for this rig. And I'm so excited, man, to try it out and to use it. So maybe next time we'll be able to drive this thing. But anyway, thanks for watching.